3, 3 lives, first bonus at 80,000, second bonus at 180,000, life units 2. So that's default settings, so let's just go ahead and get back in. So I'm actually going to be playing this on the Namco Museum 50th Anniversary Pack for the PlayStation 2. And we're going to go ahead and get started. There we go. So Dragon Spirit is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up released by Namco in 1987. It actually has quite a bit in common with Gradius, if I say so myself, even though they were made by two entirely separate companies. So right off the bat, you can probably tell this gameplay is very, very similar to Xevia. So you control Abrul the dragon, and your quest in this game is to save the Princess Alicia from the Demon Zal. Pretty standard medieval stuff. And it plays similarly to Xevious in that you have both aerial attacks and ground attacks for different sets of enemies, except it has dragons and other mythical creatures. And in this game, you also have a wide variety of power-ups to get. So the blue eggs give you the blue capsules, which give you extra heads. So I'm playing with 2 heads now. Normally you start off with 1. You can grow up to 3 heads, but at that size, your hitbox is actually quite big. So I'm just going to be sticking with 2 heads for most of the game. And in addition to the egg power-ups, you also have flashing enemies that will randomly drop power-ups. There's some level of consistency to what power-ups they can and can't drop in most areas, but for the most part, you just kind of have to adapt. And then the red eggs, as you can see, there's a little counter in the lower right-hand corner that you can collect red eggs to fill up that capsule. And when you collect 3 of them, you upgrade your firepower. So these are level 2 flames. And they do twice as much damage as regular flames. I'm actually not playing on a controller that allows me to use turbo, so I am going to have to mash the button for the entire game, unfortunately. It's usually not a huge deal, though. And I apologize in advance for the very bad audio quality. This port's audio emulation is not great, but I don't really have a better option. All right, this is good. So this power-up essentially gives me a level 4 flame. And most runners usually opt not to pick this up, but I assure you this power-up is ridiculously overpowered. And you'll get to see that hopefully for the next couple stages, because I'll be trying to make really good use of it. So this is the Paleozoic era, or whatever you would call the stage, and here's this first boss. Pretty simple. And that's how OP level 4 flames are. There's also a 3rd level of flame you can get with the red capsules that behaves very similar to this. It's just a little bit weaker. And by a little bit weaker, I mean a lot weaker. Okay, so now we're in stage 2, the volcano stage. So I'm actually playing on the new version of the game. That's what this port is based off of. So the main differences are there's a stage select, which may or may not be useful if I game over here. This game is also very, very difficult and somewhat RNG dependent with the items you can get. It's not nearly as bad as the previous game I played, though. So it has the new version has a stage select, and in addition to that, Abrul's top speed is actually quite a bit faster, which makes navigation a lot easier. I've actually never played the old version of the game, and I don't really intend to. So yeah, most of the stages here are just kind of going through and dodging the obstacles in your way. I'll try to explain sort of the various power-ups you can get as I come across them. So similarly to in Gradius games, how you want to have something highlighted before you die in order to have speed up instantly activate, I'm going to have 2 capsules in the fire bar meter, because if you die or take a hit, your power-up level goes down by 1. So it's doing that allows me to sort of quickly make it back to full power. So right there, I just grabbed another random power-up. That's the Earthquake. So every ground enemy that is on the ground while the screen is shaking during this brief period of time is going to instantly die. So that can be useful in quite a few situations. Right. These little birds that come out from the volcanoes, you can sort of force them to infinitely spawn by staying out in front of the volcano. The big important thing to do with this game is to just kind of kill enemies as soon as you see them. There's going to be an enemy at the top of the screen that you're not going to really get to see because level 3 or level 4 flames just kind of obliterate it. So here's an example of actually how bad the audio emulation is here. This song is about to reach its loop point. Normally the song loops from the very end to the very beginning, but pay very close attention here. Yeah, that is not how the song is supposed to loop at all. I have no idea who made that mistake, but I have some questions about that. So that was the stage 2 boss. Another example of how overpowered those flames are. Really happy I got to show that off. And so we're going into the jungle stage now. Has one of the more popular songs in the game for sure. Although the Dragon Saber version. So Dragon Saber is this game's sequel. It was released in 1990. And has a secret code in the game where you can actually have arrangements of some of the songs from this gameplay during the gameplay. And this song gets an upgrade in that version. Sadly, I have actually not really played Dragon Saber. So earlier in the game, I actually picked up a purple power-up, and you'll notice that there's now an egg in my life counter. So what the purple capsules do is when you pick up the first one, it will give you an egg. When you pick up a second, a dragon sort of hatches from the egg. And when you get a third, you fully get an extra life. So those, since you only get 2 score extends in this game, the first one I just got, you actually want to hope for as many of those as possible. In my practice run I did for this, I got an absurd amount of them in the early game. It was actually kind of fun. So the default high score for this game is 80,000 points, which I just succeeded. Obviously, I've beaten that by a lot on this version. But whenever you beat the high score, there's an added sound effect that plays whenever you kill enemies. But you're not really going to get to hear that in this run, sadly. It's not really much of a difference anyways. It's just kind of a cool thing that they included. Alright, so here is where level 4 flames are super, super useful, assuming I don't take a hit within the next, 20 seconds. Almost did there. Alright, I'm just gonna let this bird go out of the way. So these trees are normally massive pains to deal with, but with level 4 flames, you can pretty easily just take care of them. So if I were to have level 1 or level 2 flames, these trees would be pretty much impossible to kill. They are possible to kill with level 3 flames, and if you can't destroy them, they are very annoying because they shoot out vines that basically follow you throughout the entire stage. You can shoot the vines to buy yourself a little bit of leeway, but it's still very annoying to dodge. Plus you get 1,000 points each for destroying these, so plus. There we go. So yeah, that trivializes that section, so I'm really happy I got to show that off. And we have the beehive. Level 4 flames make pretty quick work of it. Yeah, so I'm gonna... There actually is going to be a point where I'm going to kind of hope I lose this, because later on in the game, for a couple stages, it's actually going to be better to have the level 1 or level 2 flames as opposed to level 3 or level 4. So here's the stage 3 boss. It's kind of this giant flower. You have to bomb all of these targets on the ground, and it will also shoot out these other flowers that you have to destroy. Alright. There we go. Okay. So we're going to be heading on to the 4th area of the game. This is going to be the graveyard. And we start off with a little bit of a sandy section here. There's a lot of unique enemies in this stage. We're going to start off with some pretty basic air enemies, though, that we saw from the first couple stages. So this first enemy is like what kind of looks like corn. I don't know, you tell me what you think that is. It looks like corn to me, but you can kind of easily bait these out by just kind of staying above them and then moving down and then killing them and moving out of the way. So that's kind of how you want to do that. I'm gonna try to get that black guy off. I'm gonna try to get that black enemy off screen so that it doesn't give me the spread shot. So this random power-up is a homing shot. It shoots level 2 frames all over the screen. It will home in on any targets. It only lasts for a limited amount of time, though. And honestly, it's not super useful. So yeah, I unfortunately took a hit earlier. You can go up to 3 hit points in this game by switching settings, but I'm playing on the default settings. So that power-up actually would have given me a smaller dragon, which does actually shrink your hitbox. I may pick that up at some point later in the game, but it's not really useful here. In fact, I'm actually going to try to get my second hit back. So I'm actually going to hold on to this level 2 frames for a little while. Assuming I don't die. Yeah, I'm going to avoid that. Those tornadoes do hurt you, by the way, in case you were wondering that, so I do have to dodge those. Those golden capsules actually give you 10,000 points, so if you can grab a decent amount, if you can get a decent amount of those to spawn, that really boosts your score. And then meanwhile, you have the white capsules, which only give you 100 points. Very useful. So these enemies are kind of unique. They're one of the few types of enemies in the game that you can either kill in the ground or on the air. All right, here we go. This is the shield. So this shield is going to last me for a limited amount of time as well. It just kind of deflects all enemies and kills every enemy that comes in contact with me. So it's going to run out. Yeah, it just ran out. Now we have a bunch of ghost enemies that are going to spawn in. They spawn in pretty much the same positions every time, so I'm just going to kind of hang back and just kind of let them do their thing. Alright, now we have these green lizard enemies. They are kind of a nuisance to deal with. You can kind of bait their shots to make them easier to dodge. Okay, that was really close. So the nice thing about your hitbox in this game is that it's fairly generous. Your wings are actually immune to any damage. So bullets and enemies can sort of safely pass through your wings without you getting hit. That was about as close to being hit as you can get, though. And what's weird is that even though your hitbox is small in this game, you are still going to die a bunch if you're new to it. Right? You have to be at the top of the screen here because those enemies are not easy to dodge. Yeah, they fully materialize and fire their bullets at a random time in a random order too, so you have to kind of adjust to that. Alright, so this is the Death Guardian, I think is this boss's name. You have to shoot the skeleton until it comes apart, and then you have to shoot this blue core. There we go. So there we go, that's stage 4 done. And now we're on to stage 5, the cave road. So if I touch these walls at all, I die. This stage is basically just kind of about navigating these narrow corridors that the game kind of provides you. There's going to be a lot of shiftiness happening here. Alright, these spider web enemies are kind of weird because you have to shoot the spider first, and then the web becomes vulnerable. And if you don't shoot the web out in time, then the spider will actually respawn. And there's going to be a few of those in this stage. And these frog enemies are another type of enemy that will actually switch between being both ground and aerial enemies. Also, I'm really sorry for your ears. That sound effect gets really distorted on this port sometimes. It's kind of one of the unfortunate things about this port is just how bad the sound emulation is. Right. I hope this flashing guy doesn't give me a bad power-up. Actually, that is a good power-up. I want that. So as you can see, that's the second purple capsule. So now the egg is hatched, but it's not quite an extra life yet. So if I were to die and I have no lives left, I would still get a game over. So I actually have to grab a third one in order for that to be fully hatched and for it to be a full extra life. So now the walls are going to be kind of shifting in place. The armadillo enemies, which direction they roll in after stopping is completely random. And so sometimes they can just roll into positions that make you unable to kill them. What are you going to give me? I do not want that. and that's the last spore extend I'm gonna get, so any more extends I get from here on out are gonna have to be from those purple capsules. We got a somewhat tough sequence here where I have to stay out of the way of these bats. And now we have this boss, which is pretty dumb. So if you're... Okay, that was really quick. So if you just kind of spam missiles on that thing as soon as it appears, you can stun lock it and kill it pretty quickly. The problem is it's very hard to do that quickly enough, and sometimes it just moves anyways. And it creates a lot of spiderweb enemies that end up flooding the playing field with bullets. So it's a very difficult fight once things get out of hand, but I was able to do that relatively quickly. So here we have the Glacier Stage. It's kinda got a lot of... It's kind of a difficult stage. This is definitely a stage that will trip a lot of beginner players up if you aren't aware of every single little thing that's going to happen. And also the sound effect, you're going to have to deal with a lot of sound effect distortion here, so I apologize for that. Your ears are probably going to be very badly damaged by the end of this. Headphone users beware. Alright, there we go. Now I have the extra life from the purple capsules. In case you've never seen this game before, since I haven't died yet, this game does use a checkpoint system similar to the Gradius games. Pretty much, recovery isn't really a big deal in this game, because honestly, power-ups kind of work differently, so it's really not like it's a big deal. You could theoretically play this game with level 1 firepower and no heads the entire time if you wanted to, but why would you want to do that? Alright, so now we're getting up on one of the trickier sections of the game. So we have these pillars that come out. Again, if I touch these walls, it instantly kills you. You can kind of shoot some of these stalagmites back in. And then you have this ice that you have to sort of shoot your way through. And on top of that, you have these wolf guys, I guess, that you kind of have to shoot. Having level 2 flames makes shooting out those pillars a little bit easier. Also, this song also lives incorrectly. In addition to that, later on in this section, you kind of saw one of them earlier, but there's going to be some masks that spawn. And the position that the masks spawn is the same every time, but when they spawn is random. And I think it is also kind of partly based on your position as well, so you just kind of have to bomb the spot where you think they're going to appear and just hope for the best. And they can get in a lot of easy, cheap shots on you, so you gotta plan ahead, and you gotta know this ahead of time. And when they do fire at you, you gotta be ready for it. Alright. There's one more here that I'm gonna try and get. Nice. And then there's 2 in this section. There's one right around. Got that one, I'm just gonna... Alright, I was able to get both of them. The enemy and their bullets can somewhat be baited in this game, if you kind of know what you're doing, but some enemies like these, you just kind of have to weave your way around them. Also, I'm probably gonna die. I usually do that on the other side, but I kind of decided to switch things up, and it almost backfired. Alright. We're almost out of the sound effect distortion for this stage. I'm getting kind of sick of it by now. And now we have a boss that is stupidly broken in both directions, where if you don't know the strat, it is basically impossible. But if you do know the strat, you can pretty much prevent it from ever attacking. So the way this boss normally works is if you are a certain distance vertically away from it, it'll do that continuous stream of fire breath all the time, which is impossible to weave through. So the strategy for this fight is to just kind of lure the boss in a figure 8 like this, and then stay. You need to stay close enough to it so that it doesn't fire at you, basically. And that kind of trivializes that fight. Alright, here's the Deep Sea. This is stage 7. This stage has a couple interesting gimmicks going for it, but that are very tricky to deal with. This is a stage where it's easy to die. So I'm actually going to go back to level 3 flames here because they're going to be really, really useful later on. Okay, that lasted for a very long time. Those clams are hard to kill. Yeah, there you go. This is the checkpoint system of this game. I gotta be careful here. There's gonna be an enemy that tries to come up from behind and then explode into a shower of bullets. I gotta be ready for it. One cool thing you can do with those eggs there is if you kind of bomb them head on like that, and then sort of advance towards the item, it just sort of instantly comes to you. Right. So now hopefully I can get to level 3 flames here, because I'm going to really want level 3 flames for this upcoming section. Alright, that's not a flame power up, but I will take that. I'll grab that earthquake, that's fine. Alright, so the reason why I want level 3 flames is because level 3 flames actually go through the shells of these turtles. Level 2 flames will not, so I'm gonna have to kind of deal with some of these turtles for more than I'd like to. Because there are some turtles that are, like that one, that turtle's facing away from me, I'm not able to kill that one if I don't have level 3 flames. They're not a huge threat if you're able to bait their shots out, but they can get in the way. Alright, okay, that's the small dragon. I'm actually gonna grab that. So this might come in handy for the boss of this stage. And now I got my level 3 flame back, so that's nice. Okay, so these upcoming dragon enemies that pop out of the ground and fire spread shots at you, they will catch you the first time you play this game, I'm telling you. And here's another extra life. See how fast those things move? Yeah, have fun with that your first time around. Luckily, the heads are pretty easy to destroy, and they usually only bother you one time. So it's actually kind of a good thing that I have a small dragon and level 3 flames here. Ooh, level 4 flames, let's go for it. Why not? This section has a lot of enemies that are all firing at you. Very, very difficult to get through here. Alright. Almost kept that all the way through. Alright, so this boss is somewhat difficult. Because these bullet patterns that the boss is going to spit out after enough of these green guys have been destroyed is... You can't really weave through it, you kind of have to weave around it. Yeah, and sometimes you have no choice but to die. And also this checkpoint sucks, because no power-up opportunities. So... yeah, this boss is fun. It's actually not as bad as you think once you practice it enough. And by the way, the green things, you don't actually have to kill them, but it does make the fight a little bit easier because they do kind of fire at you at random intervals. Just got one more of those guys to take out. Now I can focus all my attention on the boss itself. By the way, this song is amazing. I just want to say it, and nobody talks about it. should be dead any second now. There we go. Now we're coming up on the worst stage in the game. So yeah, this stage is enclosed entirely in darkness. You only have a very small sliver of light you can see in front of you. You can get those yellow eggs to increase your field of vision, but even then it's not much. And it's pretty uncommon to just get a bunch of cheap hits and deaths here, even with this extended range of vision, as you can't even see enemy bullets. So yeah, I'm probably gonna get hit by that eye thing because it shoots bullets at you all the time. Yeah, I don't know what I got hit by there. And these enemies, yeah. So I ran into one of those spike urchin enemy things, but I couldn't see it. So fun. Fortunately, the second half of the stage is a bit easier than the first half, I will say that. And the stage is very, very short. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of... Yeah, I don't know what hit me there. I think I'm gonna need to stay a bit more to the left. Oh, hey, I already moved on to the next checkpoint. Cool. That's helpful. Should be coming up on the boss here. Yep. Fun. Alright. Let's get rid of that enemy right away. Okay, we're just gonna kind of keep moving so that I don't get hit. Yeah, that stage it's a miracle if you get through that stage without dying. And then this boss is simple, but it can throw you off. So I just gotta take out both these eyes here. If I had level 1 flames, this would be a lot harder. But with level 2 flames, you can make pretty quick work of it. Okay. So I'm in Area 9. This is the longest stage in the game, and it's got a lot of traps up its sleeve to throw you off. But there's also a few different ways you can cheese this stage, which you'll see. So yeah, we're in the, this is the final stage, by the way. I don't think I made that entirely clear. I'm actually going to hold off on grabbing the extra head. I don't want my hitbox to be too big, especially because my life count is a bit lower than I'd like it to be. Alright, these night enemies are kind of annoying because their little arrow things, whatever those are, have amazing homing ability. So, oh no, I grabbed the shield, but that's not going to matter. I'm in a dead end anyways. What will I do? So yeah, if you just hold down at the edge of the screen like this, you can actually kind of fly over those walls. It's probably a glitch, but I also think it could be an intended mechanic in order to make this a little bit more forgiving towards the player. Because let's face it, it's easy to screw yourself over in a stage like that. Alright, I got good RNG from that armadillo. So I'm going to be using that glitch a few times in this stage to ease out certain sections. I'm actually going to be using it again here in a little bit. So yeah, I'm just literally just holding down and I can fly over the wall. Also, these spikes that come out of the walls, the collision doesn't exist at the very edges of the walls. So you can just kind of do this. You do have to make sure you're hugging the wall, though. If you're even a tiny bit off, you're going to get hit and die. Alright, and now we have a nice little power-up section here. Nice, I got an earthquake to occur, which makes this a lot easier. So you got a little bit of a mini-boss section here with a bunch of these room guardians. Also, more music not looping properly. Those spike balls that these enemies fire at you can be very difficult to dodge with low firepower if they get too close to the bottom of the screen. And if they get close enough to the bottom of the screen, they will actually climb back to the top for one more bout, which means that you will have to deal with them for a while if you have low firepower. But I have 2 heads and level 2 flames, so that should be good. Another hiccup in looping. The developers really got lazy at this point in the game. I'm just saying that. Alright, and now this is the final checkpoint of the game. If I die anywhere from here on out, I'm going to respawn back here. So it's quite a far way back to go. And this last section is just kind of one big long power-up gauntlet. So hopefully I can get a bunch of purple eggs here to increase my chances. Oh, I did not want to grab that. Alright, that's not super helpful because I'm going to probably want to grab a... Yeah, so that's why 3 heads is kind of a bad thing because your hitbox is really, really big. Ooh, I got an extra life. Nice. There's a lot of tight weaves you have to do here. So this spread shot could be very useful for the final boss. Ooh, I'm gonna get 2 more of those. That's really good. That's really good. So that just makes I don't have to deal with those stone guardians for as much. And another one. And a shield. That's good IM RNG. So I'm going to use the wall trick again here to make this final section much easier. And I can use it again here. Because actually going through this section the intended way sucks. So we're just going to cheese it. And now we have a couple more bosses to round the game out. And this first boss is very jank. So we got a Hydra to fight here with 3 heads. And each head takes, I think, 48 level 1 shots. And they fire... Their fire can be very hard to dodge. Fortunately, I got that head out of the way pretty quickly. So the spread shot is super, super useful here. Because I can just stand here and let the spread shot do the work. There we go. And we are coming up on the game's final boss, Zoll, who is sort of the antagonist of this game. This fight is actually not as bad as you might think it is, but you do have to be careful. So I can only attack Zolo when he is not blocking himself with his staff, and the blue energy thing will home in on me. So, kind of have to be careful here. You can pretty easily bait those blue energy spheres. Yeah, Galvus can't really hit you that easily in this fight. He should be dead any second now. And there we go, that's Dragon Spirit. Alright, I'm actually going to try to do something here. So, in the PS2 version of this game, the ending is missing most of its instruments. So I'm actually going to pull up a YouTube video and try to play it in sync. So enjoy the ending here. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Hopefully I can time this right. Almost. So this is what you would hear otherwise. Oh, wait, I did that wrong. So major shout-outs to Shinji Hosoe, however you pronounce that, for composing both this game and Dragon Saber's music. Very good OSTs. Oh, I forgot to stop the timer. Stick till the end of the credits here, because there's something a little special about Dragon Spirit's credits. So Namco must have themselves thought that Dragon Spirit was really ambitious, because for some reason in the credits they included this. So yeah, comment on what games are your favorite in this list, I guess. Speaking of Toy Pop, which just showed up, I will be doing that game tomorrow, so you won't want to miss that. It's either going to be really great or really horrible. And there you go, that is Dragon Spirit. So, well, I guess I'll enter in this score, and that'll be it for me for, that'll be it for me, so I'll throw it back on over to the host, and I guess I'm Ram now. That's cool. So, there you go. See you tomorrow.